Hi guys, today we will build a Naruto search app. In this app, users will be able to type the character's name and then will display the cards that lists down all the information about those characters. And to do that, we'll use the Naruto API called Naruto DB. This is the website and here are the docs. Okay, and we want to get the characters endpoint. And the API we are looking for is this, which is the search character API. Cool. I've already created a new React app. Now, for this tutorial, we'll use a CSS library called Pico, or you can say Pico, whichever you prefer. Now, one thing special about this library is that we don't need to write any additional code to style our UI because this library styles the HTML elements by default. So we just write HTML and we get some nice styled UI. So let's grab this CDN and go to our code base. This is the app.js. Let's go to index.html file and paste that CDN somewhere around, let's say here. Save. And as you can see that the styles are a bit different, so they are applied. We go back to our app.js and let's remove this. Right? Now let's try and give it a heading of saying Naruto cards, or Naruto cards, right? And this is the documentation of the library, so you can check it out yourself. Cool. So now to plan this tutorial or project, first thing we need to do is user enters the character name. Second thing is we fetch character from API. Third thing is save it in state. And fourth thing is display the details in card. Okay, so we are going to do these four things. So let's start by first of all creating an input box, and we can write the code ourselves or we can go to the components here in the documentation, and or we can go to forms and then we'll go to input, and in input we'll copy this one and paste it here. Let's save this, and as you can see we have a nicely styled input box right out of the box without writing any CSS code. Okay, and is there any layouts? Container, right? So what we want is class container, maybe. Here. Yeah, so the container is applied. Yeah, so that's fine. Now let's make this input box a controlled input box. So for now, let's just do this in the app component itself. We are not creating other components for now. Now, let's create a new state variable called query. So the query for the search, right? And then set query. And we are using the useState lifecycle hook, which was introduced in the React 16 version. And we import that to define the state variable initially, which is an empty string. And this is how you import the useState hook. Now, after we have imported that, let's hook that up here. So we'll set the value to query, and on change, we'll get the event and set query to event.target.value. Right? And let's try it out. Let's create a paragraph and set its value to query And as you can see, it's working now. Yeah. And we get some nice UI out of the box like this click and these icons as well. So that's why this library is very neat, and it's very compact as well. So you can add this to your project without bloating the size of your React app. Cool. So now we can enter. So the first step is done. Second step is fetching the character. So when should that happen? I think that should happen after clicking a search button. So let's create a button. We'll go back to the documentation. And is there a button? It's just default, I guess. So we'll just create a button here and we'll call it search. And on click, this button will call the search function or search character function, right? Like this, yeah. So now we need to create this function, and we'll create it using the arrow function syntax, which is much less cluttered than the usual one. Now we'll make this an async function to use the async await syntax. And first of all, let's create a try catch block for error handling. And we'll log the error to the console as it is. And we'll also need to create a loading state. So let's create a loading variable initially, which will be false. And as soon as this function is called, loading will be set to true. And after this function is done, in the finally block, we'll set loading to false. Right? Cool. And let's check out our button. It looks good. And what we can do is we can say that the button should be disabled when loading is true. And in this function, if the query is empty, so if not query, then we need to return. So we won't call the API if the input box is empty and the button is clicked. Okay, right. So next thing is we need to call the API. So we'll use the await async syntax and use the fetch method to call the API. And let's just grab the API from here. So this is the API. Paste it here. Now we'll remove the last part and we'll add the character name ourselves, which will be the query. Okay. So query comes here, and then we'll get the data. Sorry. Like this. Then we log the data. And then we'll simply we need a set variable to hold this. So let's create that. We'll call it details, or let's say bio, and set bio. And this will initially be an empty object. Okay. And so here we'll set bio to data. Cool. And bio will have a key called name. So let's check for that. And we'll check if bio.name.length is greater than 0. Then we'll show something. For now, let's just show a paragraph that says bio.name. Right? So now let's give this a try. So probably Naruto Uzumaki should do it. Yeah. So you need to enter the full names of characters for this to work. Okay. Now, while this button is clicked, and we need to show some loading indicator. So let's grab some loading state. Okay. And we can add the loading to button like this by setting the area busy to true. So let's do that here. And we'll set it based on loading variable. So if loading is true, we'll set it to true, else we'll set it to false, which is a string. Okay, what is the I see. This is correct. This, yeah, right. And we'll also add some text as well. So we'll just copy this and paste here. Searching. Let's try it. So I guess the ARIA label only works when the button doesn't have a label, I guess. Cool. So now we know that our search is working. Let's also add some indicator to the main body as well. So for that, we'll grab the progress component or the tag, and we'll just add it here. So while loading is true, we'll show progress. Yeah, so it's really fast, but as you can see, it does work. Yeah, cool. And we'll also do one thing, that when a new character is searched for, we'll set the old character's bio to an empty object. Yeah, so now it's fine. Cool. Next thing we want to do is, so we have done first step, second step, and third step. Now the fourth step is the final one, which is displaying the details of the character in a nice looking card. Okay. So is there a card component? There is. So let's grab this. So again, this is not like a custom component. As I said, that this library would just give you, you can write HTML and it would style that HTML. Okay. So that's why this is a cool library. Yeah. And as you can see, now we have a good card and we can add other details here as well. So let's see what are the other details that the API gives us. So it gives us a few images. Let's add those as well. Let's add just one for now. So image source, and source will be bio.images of 0, right? And here is Naruto's image. Yeah, Naruto always looks really cool. So next thing after the image, other things we can add is all the jutsus that they do. Okay, so like a list of jutsus. So how should we add a list? Let's just create a div, and we'll create a heading and call it jutsus, and we'll create an unordered, or let's say ordered list. Now inside of this, we'll loop through all the jutsus. So we need the key jutsu, which is an array. So bio.jutsu.map, and we'll go for jutsu, and we'll get an index, right? Now this should just return the name, and let's create a key of index. And we have all the jutsus listed. And these are all centered, so let's change that. So these are some default styles from app.css. Let's comment this text align. And we have now everything on the left side. Cool. Now what we can do is we can bring this name below the image, first thing. Yeah, give this image an alt of, let's say, just bio.name, right? We have all the jutsus, and Naruto has about 94 jutsus. Okay, so before jutsus, we'll also list some other details. Let's say nature type, right? All the nature types. So let's just copy these and paste here, and we'll call it chakra type, and we'll loop on the nature type key, and we'll just call it chakra. Right, so we have all the chakra types here as well listed. And so chakra types, jutsus, name, and now we can add other details like the personal details. So we'll do that before chakra types. So let's go here and start adding these details one by one. So the first key is birth date, and which would be in the personal object. So dot personal dot birth date. Okay, and here is Naruto's birthday. And let's paste it a few times. Right, now next thing is Naruto's gender. We can display the blood type. And we can display the occupation. Now occupation is, as you can see, an array, so we can loop through it. So let's just copy this entire thing, paste it here. Okay, I mean, why not? We got the entire thing. There. And what we want is this. And let's just say O, right? Occupation. And so we have occupations. Let's remove this one, and then we can do affiliation. So just the same way, copy this, paste, and yeah, affiliation A. Now you can make these names a bit verbose. I'm just keeping this compact. We have affiliations. We can list down the teams next. Yeah. And teams are just team. So are these in personal? No, these are not personal details. Age, height, weight, and team, clan, right? So team is in personal details, right? So we'll do this and T. Right, so we have the teams. We can display the clan as well. So let's do clan above everything else. So here and clan. Right, clan. What next? Again, rank is a nested object. You can do that yourself. I'm just skipping that. And let's do tools. I think chakra types should be above other things. So we'll do chakra types. And yeah, we can do tools, right? So tools can come here. Now tools are not personal, I guess. Yeah, so we can just do tools. And we have the tools. Cool. Next thing is we can list down the voice actors as well, because they do really good work. So we'll list down to honor them. We'll list down them at the top. We'll create a div for this. Below here. Right? And we'll call this voice actors. And we'll grab the voice actors key. Now in the voice actors, we'll grab the Japanese. Now it could be an array or it could be just one, right? So we will need to check for multiple cases, but we'll just do for, I think Japanese would only always be one, right? It could be different sometimes, yeah. So for now, let's keep it simple. We'll do voice actors. Instead of a list and instead of this, we'll create a P and say Japanese, and again Japanese. Right, let's just do the Japanese, I guess. Voice actor, Japanese, cool. So that's all the details that we'll list here. If there's something I missed, you can do that yourself, all the other things that I missed. Now let's make this card look a bit nice. So let's try and bring these things in the center, I guess. So all these are inside of this app container, or inside the article, right? So we can create some styles. We can, yes. And we can give a width, let's say 60%. We can give some margin, 0 auto. Right, so now our card is in the center. Yes, and let's go ahead and uncomment this So that's at the center. Right. So next thing is we don't want the text like all these text to appear weird. So let's just make our list style to none. And right. So now it looks better. The name is displayed twice, so let's remove that. And let's make the image a bit bigger. Yeah. And we can make the name itself into a title. Cool. So this looks pretty good, and on the article we can give it a margin of 20px for the top and bottom. Right. And we can actually, let's give it a height of 60 VH. And make the overflow to auto. Right. So this is scrollable. And let's make the image a bit small. Right. So now we have all the details of a character listed in a card. And we can give some background color to this as well. So let's grab a really cool Naruto wallpaper. And yeah. I see, there's a space here. Okay, right. So this comes here. Let's give this in our app. Okay, maybe the app won't be full width, so let's keep it in body. And we'll make our body width to be 100 VW and height to be 100 VH. Yeah, looks really cool, right? And we can do background size to be covered and background repeat to no repeat and background position to center. Yeah, now this looks really sick. And we can make this white. Let's just keep it for Naruto. And for other characters, you can fix that yourself. If you want like a conditional check for if the data is a string or if it's something else, and then process accordingly. So here is a Naruto card and it looks really cool with the background. And this is where I leave you. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button as well. Thanks.